On today's episode of Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures, we talk about the trials and tribulations of high school romance.
And we talk about the power of the early 1990s Queen Street West Toronto music scene.
And believe it or not, Bill and I, once again, talk about figure skating.
You're listening to our take on Meryn Cadell's The Sweater.
Bill, I know you will understand this and feel the intrinsic, incredible emotion. We have just started recording a podcast episode of The Sweater by Meryn Cadell.
Girls, I know you will understand this and feel the intrinsic, incredible emotion. You have just pulled over your head the worn, warm sweater belonging to a boy.
I had a feeling this could happen because before we started, you paused, drank water, and had to kind of limber up. And it makes sense because the song today is a lyrical vocal workout.
Oh, very much so. The Sweater by Meryn Cadell has the most words.
Yeah. And it is a challenge at first to listen to, and then it is totally engulfing.
Sure, yeah. I think the whole song draws you in with the storytelling and the cadence in which the lyrics are spoken.
And to the listener, notice when he speeds up and when he slows down. And I think we need to talk about this right off the bat.
Right off the hop, let's get this out of the way. And this is something that we were talking beforehand, before we started, in making sure that we got this correct. Meryn Cadell transitioned from female to male in 2003 and came out officially in 2004, but kept the name Meryn Cadell as his professional name.
Right.
So this song comes out in 1992, but since then, Meryn Cadell has transitioned to a man. So we're going to refer to him as him.
Right.
Before we launch further into this song, I brought this to you last week when we were discussing, okay, what's our next recording? And I said, I want to do The Sweater by Meryn Cadell. And there was a lot of trepidation by you.
That's right. Because I thought this is not a song that we usually do. It's a little more hip and alternative, number one. Number two, I don't know how to do lyrical analysis when there's so many words and there isn't like a chorus hook the same way.
Yeah.
So there's all these aspects about it that made me feel worried, right? But then I also started to see it as the week went on as a really good challenge. And then the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. And I remember the song. I remember the video in particular.
Yeah, but it's a really, really obscure song. It was a bit of a minor hit in Canada, but it didn't do a whole lot. It made it to number 24 on the alternative charts, the Billboard alternative charts in 92.
Right.
But it kind of came and went. And this is one of those songs that you worry about losing itself to history.
Ah, very good. And that is part of our guilt-free pleasure manifesto.
Yes.
Mantra. I actually don't know fully what either of those two words mean. One's shorter than the other.
Yeah.
Definitely a mantra then. Except we don't have a mantra, do
No, we don't. More of a credence that we have.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's good. Okay. Yeah, this will no longer be lost to history thanks to us.
Well, yeah, we are really, really good people.
That's right. It took some serious sleuthing this week to find out info about Meryn Cadell because there wasn't a lot online.
No, it kind of had to dig deep, and I had to step outside of just Wikipedia.
Yes, that's right. There was the use of the Wayback Machine.
Yes.
There was digging into podcasts that were kind of buried out there in the podcast verse. Mm-hmm. But we did find some pretty good info.
We should also mention that we have featured Meryn Cadell on the podcast before.
That's right. Another song I was really hesitant to talk about.
In 93, he released a song called The Cat Carol, and we had that on our Depressmas Christmas special about depressing Christmas songs.
And that's when we hadn't actually researched anything about Meryn Cadell.
Yeah.
We hadn't known any of his history.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So apologies too, because we referred to Meryn by her gender presenting back then.
Yeah. Meryn Cadell was born in Brooklyn, but then moved to Waterloo, and he grew up in Waterloo, and then moved to Toronto and went to the Ontario College of Art and Design.
Right.
And became part of the Queen Street West
Music scene.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a really big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for those who are not around Canada,
Yeah.
or in Canada,
Or
rather,
Toronto.
or Toronto in particular, and I feel for our listeners from, provinces that are not Ontario, there is a bit of a Toronto-centric problem in our country.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, and so we acknowledge it, but also the Queen Street West music scene was a really big deal from around maybe 1975 to 1995 or so. It's been, as they say, gentrified.
Yeah.
But, it's now moved to other parts. The Junction, I think, has more of a music scene now, and there's all these different neighborhoods. But back then, it's crazy, the number of bands.
Oh, that came through there, yes.
Yeah.
And Meryn Cadell was involved with a lot of them. He was an opening act for the Bare Naked Ladies, like pre-fame Bare Naked Ladies.
Cowboy Junkies as well.
Yeah. And he was a performance artist, so would do interesting things on stage, like playing with a heating duct to create reverb. I'm not sure how that works, but it's something that happened.
I'm trying to think about how that looks. So with heating duct, is that the thing John McGlynn crawled? So would that be over Meryn's head and then the echoes really just going into Meryn's ears?
I was wondering if it was maybe the instrument was played through it.
Oh, right. So the microphone was there.
Yeah, maybe.
But
or
Meryn has a heat
guitar
duct.
or whatever he was playing.
Right.
So as he's performing and creating this buzz in Queen Street West in Toronto, he releases 2 independent tapes. Now, a tape is the precursor to a CD, which is a precursor to an MP3.
Which is then a precursor to whatever it is we get on our streaming services.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad you let the younger listeners know.
Yeah, I'm sure we have so many younger listeners. The genealogy of music playing devices.
Yes.
Anyway, he has 2 tapes that come out. One in 1988 called Meryn Cadell. Apparently, he always struggled with people pronouncing his name correctly. So that's why it's Mer as an MARE-IN. So Meryn, then Cadell, KA-DALL. I know this is super interesting to you, Bill.
Also, it's ridiculous because Meryn Cadell is the easiest thing to pronounce. I just looked at it. In terms of in Canada, it doesn't look like me, Ryan. I know it looks like it just says Meryn. So I don't know who's getting it wrong, but I found that kind of funny because my last name is Hauser, Huizer, and no one gets that right.
Seriously? I've been calling you Huizer for years.
Very funny. And a lot of people do.
After the release of Meryn Cadell in 1988, he had another tape come out in 1989 called Talking Like Crazy.
Right, and that would speak towards how Meryn Cadell performs. The album we will be talking about soon is mostly spoken word with a little bit of singing and pretty sparse instrumentation outside of this song. So this leads to a record deal.
Yeah.
Meryn sends out his indie tapes to the various record companies. There's a bunch in the States, and they didn't get what it was about. And then also to some major Canadian labels. And they also responded, but they were much kinder and said, actually, this is very good.
Yeah.
We just don't know what to do with this, but you need to keep doing what you're doing and you'll find a place. And then he does find a place with, was it?
Intrepid.
Intrepid, right.
Yeah. And then Sire handled the release of his albums in the United States.
Right. Okay, so that leads us to Angel Food for Thought?
Yes.
Okay, here we are. And Angel Food for Thought is like 20 songs long. I listened to 15 of them today.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, I didn't get through the whole thing. However, it's quite good. It's very eclectic.
Yeah.
But I think people misunderstood Meryn to be like a jokey artist.
Like a parody artist kind of thing. Because this song is really fun. It's really quirky, but it really talks to life in high school, how everything was so critically important to you at that moment, even though it's looking back with a lens of saying it's not as big deal as you would have thought. But at that time, like, well, as our brains and emotions are still forming as a teenager, how crazy important things are to us. So such innocuous things that mean the world to us.
Like a sweater.
Like a sweater, yes. And I think this song is really important for us to do because this song really speaks to all of these sort of fabricated relationships that we would have made up in our heads. And I still might do some from time to time.
Yeah, no, you're right on the money there. And so in the writing of this, Meryn said, I think that for almost any piece that I write in that kind of performative thing, I'm sort of just touchstoning on a person's feelings, a person's thoughts at a particular time. So Meryn Cadell is primarily a storyteller, which explains also why the late career move, well, I guess maybe he's only 8 years older than us, but around sometime in the late 2000s, ended up becoming a professor at UBC of libretto and creative writing. So students will bring their songs in, and so he's an assistant professor still there, I think, associate professor rather, and they bring their songs and they work together and try to shape them into better songs.
That's amazing. That's cool. Yeah.
And he also talked about how he occasionally will work with high schools, and he actually performed the sweater not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
To remind them that high school is a blip of time. And you described that earlier, right? It's this moment of your life that matters a lot, but it gets so much better afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And I must say it does. You end up doing a podcast or something in your middle age.
Yeah, you just have to put your head down, get through high school, and then 30 years after that, you start a podcast with your friend from high school.
That's right. We totally got past high school, didn't we? All right. Well, to the sweater.
To the sweater.
The key part of this song for us, and this is interesting, this has to do with the creating of the song.
Yeah.
That's that beat that her friend from, I think, Ontario College of Arts, might have been not, but I think it was a whole bunch of OCA, because it became OCAD, I think, later on.
I know, it was always OCAD.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I think, but now it's OCAD University.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, friend from OCAD, Tom Third, is the one who came up with this beat.
Are you sure?
No, he didn't come up with it.
Okay.
He took it.
He took it.
So Meryn had already done the song a cappella. The beat didn't come first. A cappella came first, which is rare in these sort of songs. Usually you have the beat and you rap, talk over it. But in this case, the song was there, much like, Suzanne Vega.
Yeah.
Right? So the song is there. And then Meryn asked his friend Tom, can you find some good beats for this? That comes to this. You have it there, don't you?
Yes, I think what you're talking about is the musical backing track, which was Sid Dale's Walk and Talk. However, I'm on Who Sampled.
Yes, I was seeing that too. Yeah.
And that opening drum beat, whatever you want to call that, dun 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 dun, right at the beginning, that comes from Sandy Nelson's The Jerk.
All right, well, let's play a sample of the sample.
But that backing track, that jazzy sample from Sid Dale's Walk and Talk, that really sets the mood for it. It has that really retro feel to it, which would have gained even more popularity 5 years down the road from when Austin Powers first came out, because Austin Powers had that opening theme music, which was a Quincy Jones song from the 60s.
Right. This one's also from the 60s.
Yes.
You're right. Sid Dale was this like easy listening library music. He arranged big band, easy listening library music. So it's just funny to see, how eclectic some of these songs can get, where they'll pull beats from.
Yeah.
There's some really good Instagram videos of people showing these little tiny beats that are found that we have seen as iconic, but someone found them on a record just somewhere.
Yeah.
We talked about this in Groove is in the Heart.
Yeah.
Which is around this time too, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up because that has a really retro feel about it too, right?
And so the 90s did have this throwback to,
the 60s.
60s and 70s a lot, I remember. But this is early 90s, so 60s, well, no, the 60s still had its place, like that type of, I don't know, I think of it as talk show music. Also, I think of this song as one of those plays on, do you ever see those videos where it was about women in the 50s or 60s doing these like records telling women how they should behave, like to get the debutante ready for the ball or whatever.
Yeah, how to prepare a meal for your husband before he comes home from work and all that other stuff. Yeah.
So I feel like there's some of that in there and that they're playing on this. And like I said to you, this is going to be a challenge for me because I'm used to just reading lyrics and then we listen, then we talk about what we heard and analyze. But this will not allow us to. However, I do want to speak about the opening couple stanzas.
Yes.
So I can't do the imitation as well as you did.
Girls, I know you will understand this and feel the intrinsic, incredible emotion. You have just pulled over your head the worn, warm sweater belonging to a boy.
Girls, I know you will understand this and feel the intrinsic, incredible emotion. You have just pulled over your head the worn, warm sweater belonging to a boy.
This is great. If I were teaching English again, I would talk about how Meryn plays with language when she speeds up, when she slows down. And so girls begins slow, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, this is interesting because girls means it's plural, not just girl.
Yeah, because she's speaking to the entire gender, right?
Right, where this is a common thing, apparently, for girls. And as we always try to do, to little or no effect sometimes, to our listeners out there, is this a thing? So I don't know. It didn't ever really work the other way for us, right? But
no.
Or did it for you?
No, I was never accidentally given a girl sweater that I would wear to school.
Right. But on the flip side, I do know that you would see in high school a girl wearing a guy's sweater.
Yes,
maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or wearing the Letterman jacket.
Yes, exactly.
You're absolutely right with the cadence where he speaks through this.
Yeah.
Because feel that intrinsic, incredible emotion. Like it just plows right through that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And intrinsic, incredible coming together is such great wordplay.
Yeah, the alliteration.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. And then the story goes on. Okay, so we can kind of go over the story a bit.
Yeah, so this is after this girl has already received the sweater.
Right. And so maybe as a listener, you're thinking, oh, they're a thing.
Yeah.
And then immediately Meryn says, or the character Meryn is playing. This is really important. And this is sort of like, I was going to say Randy Newman. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Randy Newman always sings from a character's perspective.
Yeah.
So Meryn is the same. It's not like super personal. Like the guy in Erasure, I feel saying super personally.
Yeah.
Where this is like, it is a creative writing exercise.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into somebody's mind and I'm going to be that person. So anyway, the next line we hear is...
Now, you haven't had a passionate kissing session or anything, but you got to go on a camping trip with him and 8 other people from school, and you practically slept together, your sleeping bag next to his.
Now, you haven't had a passionate kissing session or anything, but you got to go on a camping trip with him and 8 other people from school, and you practically slept together, your sleeping bag right next to his.
Now, they're in high school. I feel like Leah Thompson at the beginning of Back to the Future. Girls with boys going camping?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I don't believe this was a school-sanctioned trip or anything like that. However, it's a group of friends. So this is a boy and a girl who are in the same social circle.
Right.
Which I think is important.
We've been there.
And the line, now you haven't had a passionate kissing session or anything. So there's nothing physically happened between these two at this point. So at this moment, you're getting the sense that this is a relationship or this is an infatuation that's in the girl's mind.
Right.
I remember it goes way, way back. I was in grade 4.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I was on the playground and this girl who was 2 years older than me sat next to me. I don't know why, but she did. And I think it was probably accidental. Actually, I'm 1,000% it was accidental, but she put her hand on top of my hand. And at that moment, I was like, I think I have a girlfriend now. Like,
Your whole life
exactly
is before you. And then suddenly the sky just gets ripped away.
Because a number of things. She's 2 years older than me.
Yeah, that's huge. She can protect you in a schoolyard fight.
Exactly. Also, I'm in grade 4, so I'm what, 9, maybe 10 years old?
Yeah. This is actually scandalous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just an accident, but her hand on top of my hand.
Yeah.
In my mind, it was every time I saw her on the playground, I didn't talk to her or anything like that, but I was like, I think this girl actually likes me. Like, she touched my hand.
Right? Yeah.
So it's got to be something.
This is why your hands are so soft.
My hands are so soft because I'm
transferred
waiting for
something to you.
someone to touch my hand again.
I wonder if she said that. Wow, those are soft hands.
Yeah. It's like, I can't compete with that. There's no way he can be my boyfriend.
Right. Oh, if only you knew. We do know that the girl in the tent just watched the boy sleep. I think they're in a tent, unless they're outside by the fire, which would be a very cold night.
No, it is in a tent because it references a tent later in the song.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. And then the song comes back to the sweater. There's always these moments where it says the sweater.
Yes.
And it describes the sweater as having a slightly goat-like smell.
Yeah.
Which all teenage boys possess.
Yeah. Which just means it was a dirty sweater.
Right. The idea that boys smell does track, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next line is, and you woke in the night to watch him as he slept, but you couldn't see anything because it was dark. So you just laid there and listened to his breathing and wondered if your heart might burst.
And you woke in the night to watch him as he slept, but you couldn't see anything because it was dark, so you just lay there and listened to his breathing and wondered if your heart might burst.
So that
Right. Okay.
infatuation there.
Yeah.
And you're next to this guy and you can't see anything, but you're just watching and listening to his breathing.
It's so
and
painful.
You're creating this whole scenario in your mind. And this is us. This is us so much.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yes, that is. It also is this sort of a weird sense that if you're sleeping, someone's just staring at you.
Yeah. It's a little bit creepy.
A little bit creepy.
But I think I've been creepy before. And this,
okay.
So there are going to be a number of stories that come out in this episode, I think. But
you did say you're going to do the heavy lifting here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Another time I was interested in this girl and we had previously dated and I was still interested in her. And we were out in a social setting and I'm looking over at her and it's like, just look at me. Just look at me. And then like she would kind of turn her head and then I'd not be looking at her. Right. But she talked to me about it afterwards. Like, yeah, it's kind of creepy when you do that. Like, oh
no.
I thought I was,
You're not the only one who sees out of the corner of his eye.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I stopped staring.
Right.
I use mirrors now.
You can use windows if it's dark outside.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we already talked about the goat-like smell.
Yeah. And that's the next set of lines. The sweater has a slightly goat-like smell, which all teenage boys possess. And that smell will lovingly transfer to all your other clothes.
The sweater has that slightly goat-like smell which all teenage boys possess. And that smell will lovingly transfer to all your other clothes.
And I love that line too, because here's this sweater, which means the world to her at this moment. And the idea that that smell is now going to be on all of her other clothes, it's almost a possessive thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's not almost. It is a possessive thing. But the fact that, okay, this sweater belongs to him. Now, all my other clothes are going to smell like this sweater. That means that we belong together.
Right. The willingly allowing yourself to be caught up in this.
Yeah.
Which will come up at the end.
Yes.
Where Meryn Cadell shakes the person free.
Yeah.
I think. And then the mom has something to say about this. The mom of the girl.
I love this. If you get to keep it for a few days, you can sleep with it. But don't let your mom see, because she'll say, what is that filthy thing and who does it belong to besides the trash man?
Oh, what a way to just try to take the air out of the sails.
But it's also great because in high school or when you're a teenager, all these things are so important. I remember I didn't think my parents had any clue.
Right.
Which obviously they do because they've experienced so much more. And like I said, your brain is still forming, your emotions are still forming. You have zero clue.
That's right.
But you think that you know the entire world. So now like your mom saying like what is that? Like, come on. Like this is an infatuation. This is nothing. this is a gross sweater that belongs to a gross boy.
Yeah. And so the mother's comment is sort of like the thing the teenage girl can't hear.
Yeah.
But the teenage girl can hear Meryn, who's giving that advice, who understands with this sort of empathy, right?
Yeah.
But also kind of gives the girl freedom to do what she wants with the sweater, as that next line goes, right?
So because she's trying to hide this from her mom, the next line, so you have to keep it under your covers with you. You can kind of lie it beside you, or wrap it around your waist, or touch it on your legs, or whatever. That's your business.
If you get to keep it for a few days, you can sleep with it, but don't let your mom see because she'll say, what is that filthy thing and who does it belong besides the trash man? So you have to keep it under the covers with you. You can kind of lie it beside you or wrap it around your waist or touch it on your legs or whatever, but that's your business.
So there's this whole clandestine, secretive thing of hiding the sweater but keeping it close because it means so much. Like it's protecting a treasure.
That's right. Exactly. Right. And the way he speaks the lines is so critical, right?
Yeah.
Like quickly, you can lie beside you, wrap it around your waist, touch it on your legs or whatever.
That's your business.
Just kind of take that pause. And this is a moment of pause in the song because whenever they come back to the sweater, there is a sort of brief reprieve, and then it's now, if the sweater, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be this turn. So we get to the now, which now brings us to a different point.
Yeah.
Where we're going to talk about what is this sweater.
Yeah.
And if the sweater, this means this is a situation where girls, as it begins, okay, this is happening, that's fine, but we now have to talk about what type of sweater this is, and then we can decide where to go with this now.
Yeah, and this sort of section is really neat because, again, we're talking about the whole high school experience and how conformity is so important to popularity.
Oh my goodness, I know. And it's so funny because all the lines here speak a certain way.
Yeah.
But within a decade or so after this, all the things that are no good become good.
Yeah.
And it flips around.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if the sweater has like reindeer on it or is a funny color like yellow, I'm sorry. You can't get away with a sweater like that. Look for brown or gray or blue. Anything other than that, and you know you are dealing with someone who's different, indifferent is not what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Now, if the sweater has like reindeer on it or is a funny color like yellow, I'm sorry, you can't get away with a sweater like that. Look for brown or gray or blue. Anything other than that, and you know you're dealing with someone who's different. And different is not what you're looking for.
Yeah, I love it. I love that line because, we're coming of age just 2 years later into our late high school era where we are trying to dress in a way that maybe shows that we're different.
Yeah.
But also definitely show that we're different enough that whatever we were going for wasn't going to happen.
But we were dressing differently, but within like a structured sort of difference.
Yeah.
There was still an element of conformity there.
Right. No, totally. We were trying to be quirky cool in the quirky cool way we saw it on TV or in whatever zine you're looking at, right?
Exactly. And he goes on further to speak to this. You're looking for those teenage alpine ski chiseled features and that sort of blank look, which passes for deep thought, or at least the notion someone's home. You're looking for the boy of your dreams, who is the same boy in the dreams of all your friends.
I love that. I love that they have the alpine ski chiseled, which gives a perfect sense of what the boy could look like.
Yeah.
But also the blank look, which I have seen before. But I love the passes for deep thought and then pauses and gives the at least, or at least the notion that someone's home.
Yeah.
But I love that a blank look tells you there's something there.
Yeah, and this is so great the way he writes this song. It's just amazing.
It's very funny.
Yes.
And he bristles a little bit at that, but also recognizes that he was using humor. And he actually speaks of this. I got this. Wait a second. I'm going to bring up one of my notes. Here it is, Frank. It's pretty exciting. Found it through the Wayback Machine, through the blog we found by the guy in the Substack.
Yes.
I wish do we have his name? Because he's a hero.
Yes, that's Mark Edward Randall.
Yeah, so Mark Edward Randall finds something using the Wayback Machine, gives us a link, and it's this very long interview from 2007. And so here's what the interviewer asks. After the sweater, you became known for your witty humor, but your albums are full of a very wide range of lyrics, from hilarious to touching to angry. And so Meryn says, I hated when sloppy interviewers asked me if I was an angry woman and if I hated men. I would always say no, because I was writing about characters who had limitations and were up against expectations that they couldn't achieve. It was never as simple as boys against girls. The other thing that was a challenge for me was being assumed to be lightweight. Humor is a good weapon I use sometimes, and other pieces were very much not in the humorous vein. But with the sweater being so large, people often didn't know what the other stuff was like. But using the term, and this is coming back to just what I'm saying here, that Meryn says, I used humor as a weapon.
Yeah.
And that means don't call me lightweight. This isn't something that is safe, so to speak.
Yeah, and the song is fun and funny and quirky, but it also is so relatable because I think we've all gone through this, and I'm sure we'll talk more about some stories here.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
but
my goodness.
It is such a great critique, I find, this song. And the next stanza in the song is, now the sweater isn't going to fit you, of course. You have to kind of roll up the sleeves in a jaunty way, saying, this is the sweater belonging to a boy, and the boy is a genuine hunka burning love, and this is not just some hand-me-down from your brother or your father.
You're looking for those teenage alpine ski chiseled features and that sort of blank look which passes for deep thought, or at least the notion that someone's home. You're looking for the boy of your dreams who is the same boy in the dreams of all of your friends. Now the sweater isn't going to fit you, of course. You have to kind of roll up the sleeves in a jaunty way that says, this is the sweater belonging to a boy, and the boy is a genuine hunka burning love, and this is not just some hand-me-down from your brother or your father.
Right. I appreciate the Elvis reference.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there's all these sort of conditions that go with the sweater. And I love that it's so specific that it feels very teenagery, if I may use the term.
Yeah.
Where on the outside, people might be saying, like your mom, I don't know whose sweater that is. It looks like this is a trash man's sweater. It could be anyone's sweater. It's like, no, can't you see? It has to be this special type of sweater.
Yeah, and it belongs to a hunka burning love.
Right. And it's clearly not a hand-me-down because that's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Could this be one of those sweaters that Eddie Vedder wore or Patrick Swayze wore in Point Break on the beach? Remember those sweaters?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just remember these beach sort of knitted-like sweaters.
Yeah.
They seem so cool.
Yeah. Or like the fisherman sweater kind of a thing.
Totally.
Right? Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
And the song has already taken us from the situation where she gets the sweater to discussing what the sweater is and how important it is, and how important it is that it fits into that sort of little box of what's acceptable.
Right.
Now we get to the situation further. So this is a weekend camping trip, and now it's Monday, and she's going to school, and she's going to wear the sweater.
And the song has this moment of pause and stop. Monday, wear the sweater to school.
Yes.
I love that because now you're like, whoa, this is a big moment, a moment of decision. And also, it sounds like Meryn is giving the advice. This is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Here's what's going to happen. You're going to do this.
Yeah. And what happens musically there is exactly that. Everything kind of drops out, and then the sample comes back in. Walk and talk comes back in.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
It's really neat. So Monday, wear the sweater to school. Be calm, look cute. Don't tell him about the dream you had about the place the two of you would share when you get older. Just be yourself. The best, cutest, quietest version of yourself. Definitely wear lip gloss.
Monday, wear the sweater to school. Be calm, look cute. Don't tell him the dream you had about the place the two of you would share when you get older. Just be yourself. The best, cutest, quietest version of yourself. Definitely wear lip gloss.
It's great. Now it's moving like, okay, you're going to do this and you're going to wear lip gloss.
Yeah. And I love this. Like, just be calm and wear this with so much confidence because, hey, he gave it to you.
Yeah, here we go.
This is important. And now you're the envy of everyone at school because you now have this sweater that belongs to a boy.
That's
and you are
right.
confidently wearing it to school.
And so this leads to the moment, right?
Yes.
They're in class, right?
Yeah. He looks at you and he looks away. And then he walks away. And the smell of the sweater hits you again suddenly like ape scent gloriola. And you get a note passed to you by a girl in history that says, he needs that sweater back. He forgot you put it on in the tent on Saturday, and he's been looking for it.
He looks at you, and he looks away, and then he walks away, and the smell of the sweater hits you again suddenly like ape scent gloriola, and you get a note passed to you by a girl in history that says, he needs his sweater back. He forgot that you put it on in the tent on Saturday, and he's been looking for it.
Oh, crestfallen.
This is going from the highest heights to just being crushed. I am sure you have gone through these situations, and they're probably too numerous for me to mention of my own.
Oh my goodness.
A misunderstanding.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's not what I meant at all type of deal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he sees her and doesn't go up to her to even say, hey, nice sweater, I need that back.
Yeah.
Instead, goes to another girl.
Yeah.
Which has his own level of cruelty.
Yes.
Right? He's confiding in another girl who then writes this letter. And the letter is read so quickly by Meryn, which adds, this cruelty to it because he needs that sweater back. He forgot you put it on in the tent on Saturday and he's been looking for it. And it's so quick and it feels like catty student kind of doing the, hey, da-da-da-da. They kind of speak to someone but are dismissive of the girl because they also know that she's vulnerable. And there's a cruelty in that letter. I feel it's there.
And the way that it's spoken when Meryn rolls through those lyrics so quickly, and it's almost like being shot.
That's
like,
right.
It's just like, boom, down.
Yeah. So in the aftermath of this, right?
And this is amazing because this is the crushing moment followed by the redemption. And the redemption is amazing because it's so trivial.
Right.
But I love it. And you don't have to die of humiliation, you know. You are a strong person, and this is a learning experience. You can still hold your head up high as you run from the classroom, tearing the stinking sweater from your body. You look at that sweater carefully, and you realize that love made you temporarily blind. You've got a secret now, honey, and though you'd never sink as low as him, you could blab it all over the school if you wanted. The label in the sweater said 100% acrylic.
And you don't have to die of humiliation, you know. You are a strong person, and this is a learning experience. You can still hold your head up high as you run from the classroom, tearing the stinking sweater from your body. You look at that sweater carefully, and you realize that love made you temporarily blind. You got a secret now, honey, and though you would never sink as low as him, you could blab it all over the school if you wanted. The label in that sweater said 100% acrylic.
And that redemptive turn, because she runs out absolutely humiliated, but then she finds this thing, and it's just such a trivial little thing, but she can hold on to it, even though it makes no difference to him, because what does he know about an acrylic sweater? He's just some gross high school kid, right?
Right. It's the 90s too, so acrylic is a big deal.
Yeah.
I just have it in front of me from the AI overview on Google.
Oh, okay.
Acrylic fabric is often considered undesirable due to its environmental impact, health concerns, and poor performance compared to natural fibers. It's a synthetic fabric made from petroleum, and it contributes, Frank, to microplastics, which of course comes later. But Meryn already knew this was a problem.
Yeah.
And this poor girl has been wearing an acrylic sweater. She should know it feels horrible. It's not, Angora or lamb's wool.
Yeah. Or just
cotton.
Or cotton, yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that line, love made you temporarily blind. So in that weekend, in those 2-3 days from when she grabs the sweater and puts it on in the tent because it's there and next to her on Saturday to Monday, and the dream that she had about the place that they would grow old together with and how she's in love. All in that time, she doesn't care what the sweater's made out of because the sweater represents something more.
Right.
But now that that sweater doesn't represent that, this burgeoning relationship and this love that she has for him, now that that isn't true, now it's something that she can weaponize against him.
Right. And Meryn says, "You got a secret now, honey," which now she has power.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then adds to it, "And though you never sink as low as him." And so Meryn is now also coming alongside the girl saying, hey, I gotcha. You're better than this because you never sink as low and you have power because you have a secret. Yeah. You could blab it all over the school if you wanted. And that's the sort of final thing. There is a pre-Spice Girls girl power thing here, Frank.
Yeah. I find it, at least the way I read it, is there's a ridiculousness about it because her big secret, her big way of combating this really embarrassing situation is, well, the material of the sweater is just synthetic.
It's so clever in songwriting.
Yes.
It could have been something else.
Oh, yeah.
But didn't go there. Instead, it went for the 100% acrylic, which does feel like an OCAD move. I don't know if you have friends who went to OCAD, but okay.
You have a wife that went to OCAD.
Yeah, I have a wife who went to OCAD. That's right. They just always have such a unique way of doing things. And if you hang out at parties, they listen to music that's tough to listen to, which is Steely Dan and all that other stuff. But they're always kind of cool. And they're able to just do things naturally that are cool.
Yeah.
And you and I got to work really hard to be cool.
Yeah,
we pull it off. But it's a lot of work. Yeah. Right?
I remember one time when you were at a party and you ran out ripping a sweater from your body there.
Yeah, well, it was acrylic.
Yeah. The way the music works, the sample from Sid Dale, the way that Meryn Cadell just machine guns through some of those lyrics, it's just an amazing song. It really is.
It is. It is. And it matched.
Yes.
By the video. The only way I would know about this song was through Much Music in the video because I didn't listen to alternative stations the same way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have caught these things. But that music video is pretty iconic in the 1990s Much Music era.
Yeah, early 90s. That's where I would have heard the song.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I went to university in Toronto, I connected with a girl on my floor who also loved this song. And we would talk about this song. And believe it or not, Bill, I know this is going to be a shock to you, but I imagined a relationship that I might have with her one day, but never had the guts to talk to her about anything other than the sweater and, well, a couple other things that we talked about. But yeah.
This is very meta, as the kids say nowadays. Well, and fitting, I suppose, but definitely not ironic.
No.
We don't do irony.
We don't do irony.
And this song is not ironic.
I don't think so, no.
Because it's not mean.
No.
But it's funny because high school is funny, but it's also worth recognizing the horrors of it. I loved high school. I did have a good time.
Yeah.
But there is moments in a teenager's life that matter so much. And no matter how hard we try, we can't get them out of it because they have to live through it, to quote Hole.
Yeah.
Going through my whole 90s, what is that
Rolodex?
thing? Rolodex, that's it. No one will
Very
know.
90s.
Yeah, no one will know what a Rolodex is. But there is a moment of seeing the kids, and I try to say this in my speeches when I'm not teaching calculus, for a reprieve, and then they realize they wish I'd teach more calculus, where I say, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, you won't be friends with most of these people anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'll trade up for better ones. Unless it's Frank.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's funny because high school was such a big deal when you're in high school, obviously, yes. I have gone back to my parents and on a number of occasions said, I am so sorry. I am so sorry for the way I behaved when I was a teenager, when I was a sullen, just miserable kid around my parents. They didn't understand. Not like they went through that when they were teenagers and they've lived through it and became adults and everything. It's like, how would they have any idea?
And they did. Right.
Yeah.
But to your credit, no one else does this, I think. Maybe there's a small percentage that actually go to apologize to their parents.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take this opportunity to say sorry too. Turns out I didn't know everything. Yeah. And they knew a whole lot more. You find that out pretty quickly after high school ends.
Yeah, when you kind of had to take care of yourself.
Yeah. And parents seem to grow up so fast. It's like they learned all these things.
Yeah.
That's a quote from, I think, Billy Graham talked about how much wiser his parents seemed after he was away for a couple months after high school.
I remember once I definitely said to my dad, you don't understand my music and you don't understand me.
Oh, yeah, I remember that story. Yeah. And the great thing is you're definitely quoting something you saw.
Yeah, oh, right? Absolutely.
And this is the originality of being a teenager, is you take something and copy it, and then you feel you've done something new. And it's not to speak down too much to it. It's just recognizing it. And then afterwards, you just kind of smile. And I like teaching teenagers kind of because of this, because they're in that space and I don't want to make fun at all. I just want to be Meryn Cadell. Girls, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. And it's funny too, thinking that your parents don't know anything and haven't experienced like living life like this.
Yeah. Right now, Elijah thinks I know everything.
Well, yeah.
So I got a couple more years of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So the music video.
Yeah.
I was just looking up this interview from, I think this was the 2007 interview. And Meryn talked about how you had to get funding, like a grant to make a music video. Because it's quite a good video.
Yeah.
For Canadians to do, you needed a grant. And so you'd go to this thing called Video Fact.
Yes.
And they'd always give an award on Much Music, a
Yeah.
Video Fact award for one of the things they sponsored. And to get the grant, he said that they Xeroxed images from the LL Bean catalog and cut out sweaters and pasted them on the application as kind of a storyboard. And one of the lines on the Video Fact thing application, because I guess you had to write it out by hand. I keep forgetting you're not just typing it in. I don't think there's an internet, really.
Not really.
No, not really. That's just so funny. There's no internet.
The internet existed since the 70s, but it wasn't commonplace.
No, because you'd have to go to a room, and that was still a few years away for emailing. Email wasn't a thing either, right? So there's Xeroxing images, and then one of the guys from the record company, his name is Graham, I'm sure you want to know this, but turned to him and said, "Put down sweater music." And it worked.
Awesome.
They got it. And the video was super fun.
The video is fun because it has pictures of retro advertisements from the early 60s, early mid 60s.
Right.
And then there's 3 kind of girls who are dancing. Again, it has that imagery of the 60s there, like not the hippie 60s that everybody thinks about, but
the Mad Men type of 60s.
Yeah. And it was just really cool. And then there's Meryn singing, and it's his face.
Everything looks really professional.
It's very stylistic.
And you know what the advantage is? OCAD. Because all these people are in art school. They already understand how to get the specific look. So the cutout pictures and all that was already understood.
Yeah.
And so the advantage was there to be cool, to know cool people who also know how to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I imagine there's a lot of help with that.
Yeah. But the video is fantastic. It's great.
Yeah. It'll be in the show notes. Okay. Now, we got the video.
Yeah.
There was another special performance, Frank.
Yes. And this was a moment where it kind of brought it back again to me. The song would just show up every now and again in my life because I didn't have the CD. It wasn't played on the radio, but every now and again it would pop up or I would think about it. But then in 97, Canada's own figure skating sweetheart, José Chouinard, did a routine to this song.
Right.
And pantomime things, wore a big bulky sweater through the whole thing.
I've never seen that in a figure skating routine.
No.
Right? Because she's got to do the triple sow cow.
Yeah.
While wearing that.
I think she did a triple loop.
Right. I heard Scotty Hamilton kind of being a little jerky about her loops there. He said, she kind of came into it and got a bit close, but she nailed it. Like, thanks for your backhanded criticism or backhanded compliment, rather.
Yeah.
Ugh, don't like that. Was not impressed. I forgot about the way they spoke about our José.
Yeah. I rewatched the routine.
A couple times, I think.
Yes, because I wanted to make sure that I saw that loop.
Right.
And it was clear that the crowd didn't know exactly what to do with it because the music didn't make sense to them because it wasn't this big orchestral thing from like a movie soundtrack or something like that. This was this quirky, fun song about a sweater in high school.
And there's just moments of pause in the song where I guess they choreographed it pretty well.
Yes.
Because she'd be skating with the pause and jump into, when there's music.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to be a Scotty Hamilton here, but that was the first time I saw a routine by José Chouinard where she did not fall. Yeah. But
she tried to, she was always so bubbly. We wanted so much for her. And she was great.
And she was great artistically. She always got the best marks.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, on this performance, her technical marks were great, but she got dinged a bit artistically because those judges didn't get their bolero. Figure skating judges are some of the worst people next to like the secretary of your doctor's office. That's not kind. I'm sorry. That's very personal.
Did you have an experience recently?
I don't
or-
want to talk about
Okay.
it. But they're not going to lose your phone number. Well, they would. I bet you those judges lost phone numbers.
Yeah.
But I saw the numbers come up, but she was proud of her performance.
Yeah.
She knew she did well.
She did well. She got good scores.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of 5.9s in there.
She was first, I think,
Yeah.
at that model. She
Yeah.
won that. It was a professional event.
Yeah.
Still money on the line, but they could have some fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I remember those figure skating routines where whenever it was someone from Russia, because we're no longer USSR, they're Russia.
Yeah.
It was like they discovered the 50s, and they always did like 50s music.
Yeah, that's right.
50s. And like, hey, is it going to be like, I always imagine, so in Russia now, are they in the 80s?
I think they must be, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, we could talk more about figure skating.
Well, we will talk more about
Yeah.
figure skating. Other than music, that's the thing we talk about the most on this podcast.
That's true. Jose Chouinard pretty much retired right after that.
Yeah.
And she's still a figure skating coach.
Oh, is she?
Doesn't
Okay.
live too far from us, I
Oh,
think.
she's a Markham, you said.
Yeah,
That's right.
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Or one of those Toronto suburb areas.
Yeah.
Good on you, Jose, because it brought the song back to the
Yeah.
people. But Meryn also mentioned in this interview that he never saw any money for the song.
Oh, okay.
Even with his performance, no
Yeah.
money showed up.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it goes with using a sample back then or where the money goes, but it just doesn't show up unless you lawyer up. All right, we've got through that so far. Frank, I got a question. What's your favorite part of the song?
Oh, that's really tough because I love anytime that he really speeds through the lyrics. It just makes it so, it just adds this element to it. The music behind it is amazing. The storytelling is awesome. Anytime he's really smashing through those lyrics is really cool. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to say, I can't even say like which verse it is because there are no verses or chorus.
Right.
When he says, just be yourself, the best, cutest, quietest version of yourself. Definitely wear lip gloss.
I love that. Be yourself, and then it says, be quiet, which feels like those 1950s saying, this is what a woman's supposed to do. You got to be your quietest, cutest.
Yeah.
All these sort of things where it's like becoming the person that a teenage boy is going to desire.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to flip on its head still. It's going to
Yeah.
flip on its head. But in that moment, that is a great line.
Yeah. But the definitely wear lip gloss. Like that's just
Yeah.
awesome.
Just that extra little bit.
yeah.
Just be yourself. The best, cutest, quietest version of yourself. Definitely wear lip gloss.
And I think mine is the throwaway line. It's not a throwaway, but throwaway fits it. When the mom says, what is that filthy thing and who does it belong to besides the trash man?
Yeah.
If you get to keep it for a few days, you can sleep with it, but don't let your mom see because she'll say, what is that filthy thing and who does it belong to besides the trash man?
I love the way that you can kind of picture the mom saying this and what the mom would be like.
Yeah.
And just so dismissive. Perfect.
It's amazing.
Okay, so category time.
Yeah.
Right? We're in categories.
We're in categories here.
Let's bring it back, way back to one of our earlier episodes. Frank, could Michael Bolton sing this song?
I'm going to say no because I don't think he understands what it would be like to be a high school girl. But also, I don't think he could do this song.
Right. And he doesn't wear acrylic.
No.
No.
Absolutely not. He
He
wears
was-
silk
Or jean.
or denim, yes.
That's right, denim. That's the word. But I would love for him to try.
Yeah.
I think it would all go bad right at the beginning when
Yeah.
it's girls. I think he does girls, but he hits such a high note.
Oh,
that-
yeah. I think he destroys the world
Yeah,
because he's
it's
just
everything.
like, it'll be like, girls. Ooh.
Oh, man. I think anyone doing this song would do a disservice to it.
Yeah.
I feel the song needs to be heard again in its original style, right? That just needs to be Meryn's version. And I think kids would still like it.
Yeah. If you could find this at karaoke, would you do it at karaoke?
Absolutely not.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
No.
Because I would trip up on the words constantly.
Oh, man. Yeah. And then people would be confused and
Yeah.
angry. It's
Yeah.
only 3 minutes and 20 seconds, maybe.
But there are so many words
so
in
many
it.
words.
It's just constantly. I think my mouth would be dry by the end.
Okay, question for you.
All right.
Which one would be more difficult to sing? We Didn't Start the Fire or this song?
I think this one, I think We Didn't Start the Fire would be really, really difficult. But at least it's singy alongy.
And it has reprieves.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one has no reprieve.
No, until it says 100%. Acrylic, which José Chouinard held up.
Oh
I was
yeah,
just
in
like,
the yeah,
okay,
that's right.
José,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool because I don't know how she was able to pull that off. She's
Yeah,
with this,
because she had to take the sweater off, throw it on the ground, then she went back to it to look at it carefully, just like the song says. And then she picks it up, and it had to be taken off inside out because acrylic was written on the inside.
incredible.
It was awesome. yeah.
Incredible. Do you have a top 10 of sorts? Because this is an interesting sort of history. Because you have, what do you have? You have Billboard something?
Yeah, I have the Billboard modern rock tracks or the alternative tracks where it peaked at number 24 the week of June 6, 1992.
So apparently, according to Meryn Cadell, that it got trashed in the States, was moving up the charts, which then got Canadian top 30 stations to start playing it.
Yeah.
They saw it in the States. And then that sort of propelled it to rise in Canada.
Yeah.
And once again, Canada saying, oh, if they like it, it must be good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
my goodness.
because it's CanCon, right? Like
Yeah.
they had the CRTC.
Yeah, they have to play certain things, but they had it in front of them and they waited till the States liked it. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
So the Billboard alternative tracks, I really don't know a whole lot on the top 10 here. So I will tell you that the top 2 songs on the modern rock tracks or alternative chart were The Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead by XTC was number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Friday, I'm in Love by The Cure was number 2.
That's pretty incredible. I forgot that the XTC song came out in the early 90s.
Yeah.
I also forgot that they were that popular.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right? Yeah. But for a little more context for our more pop savvy listeners, the top 10 on June 6, 1992 on the Billboard Hot 100 tracks was Ain't Too Proud to Beg by TLC, number 10.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one. Yeah.
If You Ask Me To by Celine Dion at 9.
Oh, her first big hit.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the Closet by Michael Jackson at 8.
I remember that one. Yes, that was one of those, like, the dark Michael Jackson song. Keep it in the closet. Yeah, okay.
Damn, I Wish I Was Your Lover by Sophie B. Hawkins at 7.
We still don't have the will to do that song
Yeah.
because it's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly a lot of innuendo in there.
Yes.
And obviously-endo.
Yes.
Okay.
Live and Learn by Joe Public at 6.
Oh, man, I remember that so well. Okay.
Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot at 5.
Very popular song. Yep.
I'll Be There by Mariah Carey at number 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is just screaming up the charts at this point. My Lovin', You're Never Gonna Get It by En Vogue at 3.
Oh, my goodness. Where are we headed to?
I know. Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers at number 2.
Wow, I forgot that went so high, too.
And Jump by Criss Cross at number 1.
Oh, wearing the jeans backwards.
Yeah.
Okay. My goodness. Okay, well, that puts it in its place.
Yeah.
A time. Wow.
Because it didn't chart on the Hot 100
Yeah,
tracks.
not at all.
Yeah.
Well, that takes us to mixtape.
Yeah.
Okay. My theme is Queen Street West music scene.
Oh, okay, nice.
Does that
No,
cross over in yours?
not mine at all. No.
Okay, because I have an idea for one of the songs I'm worried you might have on there, but we'll find out. I guess.
Okay.
I was going through the search engines looking for Queen Street music scene just to get a list of bands from the area. From the era, rather, in the area. And I couldn't find much until I saw that there's like academia.edu article on the scene from someone from Toronto had written it. His name is Adam Faux, F-A-U-X,
Oh, okay.
which means wrong. Although if it was Adam Fox, it'd be kind of cool too,
Yeah.
but I don't want to anglicize the name. He is currently a PhD candidate, or he might have got it from York. And he's doing his PhD in a liquid composition or something like that. I didn't understand it. And I also spent a lot of time researching this guy's CV where I'm like, just read the essay, Bill. Just read the essay. So his essay's on the Queen Street music scene.
Yeah.
And he mentions as a typical example of this scene was Meryn Cadell.
Yeah.
And I was just looking up for the Queen Street music scene. Then he listed like 50 bands. And so I went through these 50, and there were certain ones I wanted to put in there, but I'm going to try to stick to these. Don't worry, it's not 50 songs.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with people really close to Meryn Cadell.
Okay.
So Cowboy Junkies.
Nice.
I think I'm going to go with the Blue Moon Revisited
Oh, okay. Yeah.
from the Trinity Sessions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was an amazing album.
Is that Trinity like St. Paul Church? Is that Trinity Church on Queen Street West?
Yes.
Okay, well,
I
there we
believe
go.
so,
Even
yeah.
better. Okay.
It's literally right behind the Eaton Center.
Okay. Incredible. Okay. Then I have Blue Rodeo, because Bob Wiseman, who was in Blue Rodeo at the
That's
time,
right.
helped her out. Diamond Mine. Also, it's kind
okay.
of the talky Greg Keeler in there.
Yeah.
Talkie Rio Statics. I went with Record Body Count.
Oh, okay.
It's just a strange
Yeah,
tune.
yeah.
But also, it's this strange time in Canadian history where you have these songs that are doing really well. Okay, that's 3. Next up, another talkie. I think I got a theme working here.
Oh, okay.
Pursuit of Happiness. I'm an adult now.
Nice.
So maybe the guy's perspective. It's the guy with the acrylic sweater. That's why he sounds so angry. And I'm going to end it with this and then put a bonus. Bare Naked Ladies, If I Had $1 Million.
Yes, he sang backup vocals on that song.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when you hear If I Had $1 Million, Meryn Cadell is in the background there. And then as a bonus, I think they're not from the Queen Street scene, and I don't want to anger Queen Street people, but this group was from Thornhill and played at like the Harborfront, but they had a talkie song, came out around the same time.
Okay.
Once they were the King of Spain.
Moxie Fruvis.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So once I was the King of Spain, and Moxie Fruvis is its own special history. I found a website that said there are Fruheads. She goes, Fruheads, much like there are people who follow Fish or Dave Matthews Band. And I said, there's no way there are Fruheads.
No, there's no way.
And if you are a Fruhead, could you please let us know that you exist? Because I just don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't think it's true.
All right, Frank.
All
what
right.
do you got?
So there is a little bit of crossover here in the sense that you had a number of spoken word songs. Mine are all spoken word songs.
Oh, good. Okay.
We are going to start it off with Positive Jam by The Hold Steady.
Oh, yeah. There we go. A good way to start things.
I know,
Very good.
right?
Okay.
And then Somewhere Down the Crazy River by Robbie Robertson.
That's a great song.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, man. That's one of those songs where you hear it and said, where did that come from? It was there, though.
Park Life by Blur.
Oh, good. Very good. Good choice.
Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen by Baz Luhrmann, which came out a couple years after this song.
And it has to owe its existence to this.
Very much so, I would think, yes. Short Skirt, Long Jacket by Cake.
Well done. Yes, Cake's a great choice.
And I am going to close it all off with Canada's own William Shatner and his version of Common People.
Well, perfect. Perfect mixtape. Well done, Frank.
The one thing that I love about the song, talking about the use of humor, is it does have a lot of comedic sensibilities, and it really resonates well for anyone who's kind of experienced those pangs of romantic longing.
Yeah.
Like, this is a song about unrequited love, but a different version of an unrequited love.
Right. It's a teen version, but it's also so... Oh, there's a moment where you immediately afterwards just say, this is stupid. I can't believe I did it. This is so stupid.
Yeah.
I'm so silly. And then just beat yourself up for even trying.
It was basically all of high school for me.
But I've had those moments like, why did I try? Why did I think this would work? Why did you do this? Why?
Why did I think that putting a sweater on that was just lying beside me meant that I was in a relationship?
Yeah, but there are movies out there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, remember Dead Poet Society, where the one guy watches the girl sleeping on the couch and then kisses her.
Yeah.
Then gets beat up by her boyfriend, I think, because he assaulted her.
Carpe diem.
Yeah.
That's all he did.
Yeah, which it turns out Carpe Diem is harassing somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's out bleeding in the snow, I think. He gets beat up. And the girl comes out and says, "You're such an idiot." And then she says it in such a way that he's like, wait a second, I have hope.
Yeah.
And those movies did us no good.
Oh, absolutely no good.
Because you end up fantasizing about this sort of world. And so much is like imaginary girlfriends or imaginary scenarios. And you lose out on the moment that you're in. However, and I feel like Meryn Cadell's narrator gets this too.
Yeah. And this song is the perfect counterbalance to those Hollywood movies.
Yeah. And like I was saying, that narrator gets it and also knows you have to go through this. And so, dear listener, you might be in high school and you're about to go through this, or you're in this, or you might be out of high school and you're still going through this, or you're having those awful memories, the sort of I can't believe I did that. It's so stupid, so stupid. Bill and Frank are here to tell you to stop feeling guilty, because we're all about guilt-free. We all go through this. We're all human, and you have a place here. And if I may also say, because I feel like I'm sounding harsh, if it went bad for you and you feel you've done something silly, Bill and Frank have done it about 10 times more.
Oh, absolutely. We have, yes.
And I haven't told my stories, but they're there. And I've just let you speak it, and I've kept quiet, but oh my goodness, have I lived this.
Even if you have gone through these experiences in the past, or you're currently going through something similar, as the girl in the sweater has, embrace who you are and just be yourself. The best, cutest, quietest version of yourself. Definitely wear lip gloss.
You've been listening to Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures.